the good old bugle boys will sing another song. Sing it with the spirit that will start the world along. Sing it as we used to sing it, 50,000 strong, while we were marching through Georgia. Jubilee, hurrah, hurrah, the flag that makes you free. So we sang the chorus from Atlanta to the sea, while we were marching through Georgia. Hurrah, hurrah, we bring the Jubilee. Hurrah, hurrah, the flag that makes you free. So we sang the chorus from Atlanta to the sea, while we were marching through Georgia. Train 60 miles in latitude, 300 to the main. Treason fled before us, for resistance was in vain, while we were marching through Georgia. Hurrah, hurrah, we bring the Jubilee. Hurrah, hurrah, the flag that makes you free. So we sang the chorus from Atlanta to the sea, while we were marching, while we were marching, while we were marching through Georgia. Train 60 miles in latitude, 300 to the main. Treason fled before us, for resistance was in vain, while we were marching through Georgia.
Hello, hello, hello to the zero who are watching. Let's just see if we can keep it a perfect zero between now and then. All right, now. Let's see, are these guys set to static? They should be. Yeah, excellent. Just the Winders, as we used to say down south, the Winders. We have a little bit of a issue there. Weird. That's jutting out just a little bit too far. It needs to be moved back just here. Well, in fact, I could do this mathematically. Okay, yeah. Let's see. This needs to be 4. Yeah, and trust me, it's going to get even more boring going forward. So just those people who may be tuning in the future, just know if you tune out, yes, you're doing the right thing. Let's see, 7, 8, 8, 1, 2. There we go. Perfection almost. Close enough for government work, as they'd say. Even though that demeans a good work of our federal workers. So unfortunately, another thing that's like lingering from the past. Oh, wow, that was a loud one. Hello. So yeah, I was just reminded, considering I usually have to have something I'm rambling about while I'm doing these things. Number one, I need to put this down. I fixed that. You take a look at our extant bug list. Save that sucker. I seem to routine. Yep. Yeah, I saved it constantly. Okay, so let's see here. It says still there's a problem with purring. That's not good. Oh yeah, I wanted to take care of that. Okay. Weird. I guess I didn't get everything into my done list. Yeah, it looks like there are a few things that didn't get moved down properly. But I can go back to our Discord conversation here and bring that over. What's wrong with my Discord here? Come on, this is where I have my errors. Heck, I know what I'm working on. I know what I'm working on, yeah. Let's see, I added those. Yep, that light is added where it should be. Excellent. Hey. So, I think, boy, something's wrong with my Discord. I'm just going to close that, and we can go back to it at another time. I'm just going to close it entirely. Sorry, this is where my master bug list is. Here we go. Oh, Wayne's come back with a lot. Hold on here. On what? Blah, 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 utilities building without boy. Why? You can't. It makes strange. Okay. Oh, yeah, you do need boy to get in there. Okay, straight up, aside from the gluing issue. Okay. Fixed all of that. Fix that. Just going through my list. Yeah, fix all of this crap, but I do want to get this list over so I know what's done and what is not. So yeah, for some reason, I was like rewatching Aton Shay's. If you're not familiar with the YouTube channel Aton Shay, he he talks generally about history, specifically about Civil War history. And he did a really good series of videos called Checkmate Lincolnites. And it's basically, there's, in the rise of, as you may have noticed in this country, we've gone a little bit crazy. And we are, flirting with, the idea again that, seriously, some people are saying slavery was not all that bad, yeah, et cetera, et cetera. And, it just, gosh, it strikes me, again, sort of parallel to what's happening in Europe. On some levels, Europe is starting to elect far-right leaders, and in France right now, because Macron has declared a snap election. there's a serious danger. Well, they're saying in France, they're very concerned. The next president of France may be uh, Le Pen, who runs straight up their neo-Nazi party or their far, far right party. They absolutely object to being called neo-Nazi. Save on exit. Yep, yep, fix that. Yeah, definitely that screws with the game. Let's see, bedroom is dark. Lizzie's fixed that. Yeah, it should be affected by the time of day because that's just very odd. He says the library is affected by the time, the lighting of the library upper floor is affected by the time of day. But that makes absolutely no sense because literally the light that provides the light for the time of day is shut off when the player goes inside of there. So it's a wall, which is very confusing to me. But let's see. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff, minor stuff. Much of you mentioned before. Yeah, thing is no audio controls. A purring. It says it's too loud. Thought I was able to fix that in the purring. Let me just see. Base cat. Hello to our single viewer. How are you doing? Uh, oh, they left. That's how they're doing. Yeah, absolutely save these changes. But yeah, in France, they're very close to electing a Jean-Marie Le Pen. But just as Europe is like flirting with fascism again, and it seems to me this time we're electing women with it to be the fascists, so it'll turn out better this time. I'm gonna get a cracker. I'll be right back. Excuse me. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, yeah. There just seems to always be this virulent resurgence of these very, very dumb ideas. So here, just as Europe is like flirting again with, hey, let's give that whole fascism thing a second look, guys. What say? And by the way, if you ever wanted to know what the advertising slogan for fascism is, it's fascism. Let's see what happens. Anyway, um, pardon me. I know I shouldn't be eating. Pardon me. Um, but we have neo-Confederates here in the United States who just like, I thought we saw this whole like fascism thing back in 1945. But it seems, it just keeps on coming back up. And likewise, here in the United States, we have a sister movement of sorts to that. And it's, just trying to, a revisionist history about the Civil War, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. I mean, we considering like the last occupant of the White House we had here in the United States, like nobody's ever asked why did they fight the Civil War? Oh God. Anyway, that was painful. And the fact is right now, here's the thing: is I have trust in the Democrats and basically the remnants of anybody saying in Washington that's making sure that Donald Trump doesn't get the presidency. But it seems like we're going down that path again, and I don't know. Because there's a part of me that's like, I thought we had to learn these lessons. We learned these lessons in the past. Why do we have to go through this again? But here's the what good is learning those lessons from the past if we don't have the opportunity to put those lessons into practice? Unfortunately, maybe that's the purpose that fascism serves. Is that maybe at a certain point we become intelligent enough as a species to just go, every time it comes up, we're eventually going to get it right and get rid of it forever. And just as we have in this United States, we have people who are, oh yeah, Maybe enslaving white people wasn't all that bad, you know, et cetera, abducting them and et cetera, blah, blah, blah. It drives me up the wall. Because I grew up down south. Let me go back to my. Oh, yeah, I was going to go to the base cap. I grew up down south. And down south here in the United States, I call that anything south of the Mason-Dixon line. And oh, goodness, I don't want to give it an entire history. But let me see. Per. I know I have. Let's see. Audio. Because really, we only have one audio source right there, and we can see it's playing today right there. That sucker right there. No, that's canvas. There we go. Happy mode sound. Volume. Okay, I'm gonna just see. I set it up into the mixer of the SFX. I'm just gonna send this to our screenshot of this to our tester guy really quick over our system. Strange, you are here. You. Perhaps. But yeah, I guess I'm just going to do that. So let's bring the volume down and let me see. Stereo pan, spatial. It is supposed to be 2D. It's supposed to be constantly. And I want to take another look at that that happy thing because it didn't look right. I thought I fixed that. Anyway, let's see. Volume. Let's take that down to because cat purrs are not supposed to. Well, some purrs are very incredibly loud. You know, talking about some cats are like motorboats. Point. We're gonna take that down to 0.33. Yeah. Lower the pitch a bit so we have bass. Oops, was that my boot?
It was my phone.
Sorry. 3D sound, that was spread. Okay. Max distance 500. My goodness, that is rather crazy. It's supposed to only be like near the player, loud enough for the camera to hear it. So, all right, we're good. Let's see here. Let me go back to my bug list. I'm just gonna mark that as done for now because really that's the oh, zoomed in jump bug. Yeah, we know about the jump bug. It's just we're gonna take a look at it. It's not. Yeah, I know it sucks, but to me it's not too much. I mean, soon we're gonna get him to be able to take a look at that. In fact, I'm going to ask Wayne. I'm going to ask our tester guy here if he has, yeah. All right, yeah, invisible object. Yeah, the boy. There's always something screwy going on. MCU paper upstairs at Mayor's. Let's take a look at this because this is the last thing that he mentions. But in the meantime, we have to check audio source. Ah, that's why, baby. That's why. Master sound effects were not. That's why. Damn it. Okay, hopefully that's fixed it. I'm going to swing it. Apply that override. Yeah. All right, great. I think. Oh, anyway, okay. Let's see here. Doop. Oh yeah, zoomed in. I want to check that out really quick. Do we have our position in the right place? But anyway, yeah, I was going to talk, before I got off of this, but yeah, General Sherman. Because I was raised down south. And down there, uh, it's kind of crazy because you cannot go more than a couple of miles or really a couple of 100 feet without encountering one of these metal monuments to some battle. And I'm pretty sure there are a few of these up north, but very few because really the South has spent their entire time just trying to keep from being wiped out, pretty much. Anyway, it's just down there you were raised a lot with this. They call this the just or the noble cause, the noble lost cause, or whatever. This myth that they try to perpetrate down south is about a lot of crap, and it goes through slavery, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. We have people on our major networks now. Was slavery all that really that bad? Et cetera, et cetera. I guess it is a lesson we have to learn. But if you're not aware, after the Civil War, we sort of like, I don't know, screwed the pooch as far. Well, no, here's the when Abraham Lincoln passed away, his vice president, who at that time was, a Democrat with um, Confederate sympathies. That guy had a plan, even though he had sympathies for the Confederate cause. He intentionally made Reconstruction of the South as painful as possible and as awful as possible for everybody involved. So, in his own mind, and he was correct, he wanted to sow the seeds of resentment down south toward the people up north and the federal government so that it would last for, the next time that this would happen. The next January 6th. And it's a shame. But hey, that's history. And one of the things that we tried to do after the Civil War was we said, people who did, were part of the rebellion, you're going to have to sign a loyalty oath. You're going to have to do so much stuff. You're going to have to rehabilitate yourself. Just after World War II, when, we had denazification, we were going to have a program of deconfederation, basically, something that would, make sure that that would be educated out in the public, but that was cut by the president, the new president, and etc. And so, really, all those Confederate people, etc. I mean, all those people were able to just basically spend the rest of their days just genteelly, even though they were literal insurrectionists against our government, etc., etc. I mean, quite frankly, hang them all. We should have hung them all publicly in Washington, D.C. on the White House lawn. Robert E. Lee, all of them. Jefferson Davis. Because I'm taking photographs of it because it was a job of photography, because it would have gone down in history. Thus always slavers. Thus. And it would have echoed through history. But no, we can't have that, can't have that. Anyway. But, there's one person, if you're not aware, I think the proper, I mean, I've been re-looking into General Sherman's history. What was, well, I mean, if you're not aware, he is, even though probably millions, if not billions of people throughout our history has said it, he is credited in the American lexicon for inventing the term war is hell. But, let me see. I want the full quote. General Sherman quotes. Yeah. Let's see. William Tecumseh Sherman. Yes, I'm using an ad blocker. Damn right I am. Dumbass. Sorry. I mean, I just trying to say. The war is hell quote is full. Yes. War is at best barbarism. Its glory is all moonshine. It is only those who have neither fired a shot nor heard the shrieks and groans of the wounded who cry aloud for blood, more vengeance, and more desolation. War is hell. But he also said, and good it should be. Let's see, another quote. Let's see. Let's see, the best quote. Let's see. Yeah, it just gets to it. Just go. But I mean, it sums it up. I think his attitude toward the South was at a certain point from his march from Atlanta to the sea. Uh, I think they were burning. There's one city along the way. They just did everything. He introduced. They say that maybe the American Civil War is the first real modern war, and he introduced General Sherman. He introduced the concept of total war, at least in the American concept, and because, well, if you're at war, you make it as absolutely horrible for your opponent as absolutely possible. And, yeah. And while his troops were going to that city and having, a good old time, as was the time of the day, um, General Sherman was approached by a local clergyman in the city, and he said, "Don't you think, General, that it's not wise for you to let your troops be running around drunken around our city like this? They're only making harm on the women and innocent women and children." And Sherman said, um, "Here's the thing: you don't understand. You have been abandoned by the government that you put all your faith in." Words to these effect. I'm not quoting directly. And that government not only abandoned you, it spent all of its its effort getting the rich people and their stuff out of the city before we could get here, so that, oh, by the way, I need to change that, so that you left an entire warehouse full of liquor in your city that my very well disciplined troops just happened to stumble upon. This is your fault. Um, even if even if it weren't for the matter of the government leaving, the government abandoning you with that in these conditions, you placed your faith in the government that committed treason against my my government. You brought it upon yourself, and I guarantee you he did feel a little bit of remorse at times, but really. Uh, I'm of the opinion that he did what he had to, and there are Southern revisionists, and the one thing that they will always say that he did very badly. And by the way, game manager, sorry, Unity crashed, and this is why I have to change my game manager script. Uh, Understand, as Sherman, I mean, with an army that was, I believe, between 75 and 60, 50 and 75,000 troops. If you count the hangers on, it may have been, the merchants and stuff that the distilleries and such that always followed the great armies of the day. It probably may have been close to 75,000. So, and understand that's bigger than the city of Portland. So imagine you have this thing that's just moving across Georgia and cutting a path that's 60 miles wide and 300 miles long. And all the while, by the way, he did this. Um, this was sort of remarkable for the South because up until this point, understand the way things are turning out was actually pretty good for them. But it was great to a certain extent because at that time generalships were based on more about what family you were from. Particularly in the South, this was the case. What family you were from, what your socioeconomic status was, etc., rather than your effectiveness. And so, at a certain point, essentially, the Union forces, we got sick of this happening, and we brought in that guy, General Sherman, and he was the first one who said, "Okay, here's how you win. War is not a case of grand admiral generals sitting upon horses and looking magnificent against sunsets. It is a horrible thing. You go down there and you can." They would just literally burn down everything in their path. Whatever they could not carry, they would burn down. And that included houses, that included, I mean, everything. And if they came upon a railroad, they would create bonfires and they would burn the railroad ties. They would melt the railroad ties into shape so that they didn't only destroy the railroad, they would have to be built completely from scratch. And no one up until that point, at least in the American, history, had done things like that. And the one thing that the Southern apologists do sort of have a point on their hands is that as Sherman went along, and of course whipped the absolute asses of all the slave owners and their sympathizers that were fighting for them, as he went along, of course, basically the front of his army was Union territory going forward. So when he took over territory, all slaves in the area were emancipated. But the problem was, as he burnt everything in his path, where did these new people have to go? So they became part of the entourage that followed the army, more than likely taking, on the various roles that the hangers-on did. And at a certain point, General Sherman, they had to cross a river with his army. And as you imagine, with an army of like 60,000, 50,000 troops, as it is in the song, that was a massive undertaking. And you can imagine that as in modern days. Imagine what it would, that undertaking back in the days when, the steam engine and such were the height of technology. But anyway, when he got his troops to the other side, he destroyed the bridge, leaving all 600 of those slaves, emancipated slaves, behind to the tender mercies of the Confederate troops that, of course, did not have the ability nor manpower to confront General Sherman on the battlefield. So all they could do is basically walk in his rear and make sure that is everything okay here. That was their situation. But unfortunately, those 600 slaves were left to the tender mercies of those, remaining Confederate troops that were bringing up Sherman's rear. Now, absolutely, they have a point. Could have been handled better. But understand, when you look at the Confederate and Union, the casualties are between 600,000 and 750,000 military men. If you counted people that were collateral damage, you're probably talking about an equal amount, if not, well, no, because civilians did keep their heads down. I would say probably in the neighborhood of at least 10 to 25,000 civilians. And yes, it absolutely sucks. And these days in our military parlance, we would call, what Sherman, those 600 slaves that were unfortunately emancipated individuals that were left in Sherman's way, collateral damage. It's, an unfortunate thing that unfortunately never changes. But here's the thing. As much as you can rightly condemn that, you have to understand that, again, until Sherman took the gloves off and really basically just burned half of Georgia to the ground, the South had a good chance. And again, there were some powers in Europe that were just waiting for the South to really hammer the North in a good, really good battle, and then they would be able to give them some military support and such. Spike Lee did a very good movie called CSA about like an alternate United States where that sort of thing happened. But it's sort of weird because the South won and took over the North, which is a bizarre situation. I don't think that would have happened. uh, let's see here. Yeah, I was going to check the sizes of things. He said we need to get scraping sounds when you push those. Anyway, I'll put that on the list of hopeful things we can have. Yeah, I want to check out some documents. And I think we're having a problem here. Ooh, oh, that desk. What happened to the collider? What happened to my lovely collider? Okay, great. Ticket's okay. Let me see that list again. MC, luggage ticket at Lizzie's. Nope. Let me see. That's the luggage ticket. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Maybe because let me just increase the size. Let's see. But let me finish my thought about Sherman. What that unfortunate incident with the 600 emancipated people. If he again had not given Georgia that really bloody nose and really hurt the South and et cetera, and that really rallied the North's morale, et cetera, and also gave a lot of propaganda because I mean, understand a lot of the people from North. I mean, a lot of the Confederate apologists would say, "Oh, those people up north, they didn't give a crap about slavery or anything." That is because most of them had been raised up north, where in their, I mean, people of that age that were sent down there, which were usually anywhere from their like teens, early teens, sometimes, less than 10 years old, all the way up to maybe their 20s or 30s or older if they were, really ancient. I lost my train of thought about there, about the age of the soldier, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick that up again. But anyway, yeah, if he had not done that, I would shudder to think that the South may have won the war. And I mean, of course, the Southern attitude. There were a great many people in the South who were like, "Oh yes, slavery will die away because, of course, the North can create, et cetera, better products, more sturdy products, rather, because we're stuck in this agrarian economy, et cetera." But because they saw the writing on the wall. But unfortunately, the thing you have to say in response is again, look at what that the Confederate this Confederate Vice President, Confederate U.S. President. Yeah, no, Vice President. Let's see. You just have to look at this guy and get it, so you understand what kind of guy this is. He's saying, "Oh, never judge a person by what he looks like." Alexander H. Stevens. Yeah, look at this guy right here. I'm trying to find a big picture. Yeah, I'm gonna open image in the tab. Look at this Mr. Burns, this literal Mr. Burns here. And his one of his most memorable speeches that he was let me see, it was, all governments have, up to this point, have had this problem is they do not recognize this inherent natural truth of the primacy of the subordination of this race to the white. And the South was not about it. Yeah, they would have continued for as long as humanly possible. So let's see. So I like those tickets actually. Oh, yeah, he mentioned the MCU letter in the mayor's house. I think it's because he's playing it on a 4K monitor, and we really never designed this 4K monitor. So So again, I mean, the greatest crime that you could put against General Sherman there is that yes, this he is responsible for that, but in the unfortunately war really sucks, and I'm not going to defend it, but I'm going to say again, there may have been a time where if perhaps there was this, no, I'm not going to defend it. Sucky crap happens, and you can judge individual decisions and say yes, that's absolutely garbage and absolutely crap, and it should have been a war crime. But on the other hand, I mean, I think that his campaign was 100% justified, and I mean, there are so many generals that in years past who like looked at civilian casualties and they've always gone, well, you know, if in Providence they may look down from heaven and understand that their lives were given for a just cause, and many like them, benefit. So many more benefited because of their sacrifice. And yeah, it's a sucky way of looking at it in history. Yeah. I mean, that's the way George Bush was looking. Okay, yeah, it was MCU letter here. Hold on, what's that letter? I don't even remember this one. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. There are so many letters I've forgotten. So much content. Okay, he said the MCU letters. These, uh, Main State Library. Yes, MCU letter, which I thought was up here. Let me see. I mean, tell me, if I had been there and he was like, "Oh yeah, I just burned the bridge," General, we got 50,000 men over this, and I mean, we got all the prostitutes and all the, and all of the whatever the moonshiners and all the pig slaughterers along with this. And why don't we keep it open for one more day so these other guys can get? I mean, just 600 people, General. That's like what 1% of what we've been able to get across. I don't know. He would have been gone. Shut up, old man. Because by that time, if I had been away, I'm 54. Okay, so the MCU letter that he's concerned about is upstairs. And by the way, if anybody from down south is listening to this and going, "Oh my goodness, I'm so upset," well, you haven't been paying attention to me. I've never been a. I lived down south for 13 years of my life. I lived in Tennessee and Alabama, and let me see, was it Tennessee, Alabama? I visited just. I've visited literally every state down. The 13 states, the Confederacy, old Confederacy. Um, hey, great folks, great food, by the way. Miss Southern barbecue. Oh my God. The only people in this country who know how to do barbecue properly are south of the Mesa Dixon line in this country. And I will go to my grave defending that position seriously. Um, but I mean, here's another thing. I mean, if you're not aware, most of the stuff that we really love from Southern food, collard greens, barbecue, obviously fried chicken, all this stuff, that was stuff that essentially was integrated into the white Southern diet after the Civil War because, all of a sudden most white people were as poor as the slaves used to be. So they had to integrate that diet. And, just as we took, rock and roll. Yeah, where is it? Yeah, it looks like the letter's somewhere. This letter looks fine. I don't understand what Wayne's saying. I think it has to do with his monitor, quite frankly. But I'm wondering, how come I don't see the letter? I'm gonna have to take a look at that. And I also noticed that the rug over there is kind of freaky. Got to take a look at that. So anyway, I've been talking about Civil War, etc. But the reason I brought this up, by the way, in the end, let me just bring my Alexander Stevens. Yeah, am I still streaming? I don't know. Yeah, I am. There it is. Oh, oh, Wayne. Oh my God, Wayne! I didn't know you were on here. I've been sitting here talking about Civil War history while going through your list there. Um, Hello. Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing this. I mean, that's why. I mean, you said in that. I mean, some stuff. Oh, look at that. It's about a little bit lower than it needs to be. Let's just move that. Oop, there it is. Here's the thing. When you mention, you probably saw this when I was like, I don't know what you're saying, Wayne. I don't know what Wayne was saying. That crazy Wayne. Screw him. Anyway, no, I wasn't saying that. I was saying, well, I don't. I think it may have to do with your 4K monitor. I mean, I'm seeing things fine here. I run a 440 by 1440, so I don't know what you're at. Oh, that's the point. You don't see the letter. Oh, duh. Thanks, SpongeBob. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have my Patrick moments. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, and yeah, that ticket, like you said, I couldn't see it. Oh God, put one and one together, Eric. You goddamn idiot. Sorry. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you. And now you were mentioning that there were like in your list of changes. We should just call my YouTube videos, our bug report session. Oh no, that was wrong interior. I need to go back to the mayor's home, which is disabled right now. The Liz interior for that chap. Yeah, some things may have got shifted in shipment there. I don't know why. It happens. But the reason, I don't know. I'm bringing. Now, here's the thing. I see the tickets here fine. What I'm afraid of is that one of them may have like a rigid body attached, and that should not be the case. Let me see. Ticket. You were probably screaming while I was going, I don't know what Wayne's talking about. You're probably screaming at your monitor. It's right there. I'm sorry, dude. Man, again, I have my SpongeBob moments. I apologize, Mike. Thank you so much for bringing. Yeah, the thing is, what you usually do to position things, and this one may have happened. I usually hit Shift Control and then move it, and what that does is it automatically moves it to the surface of the underlying collider. And I think in some cases that may be a little bit too close. You just need to nudge it upwards just a bit. So I'm going to do that so we can mark that done. Now, I am embarrassed by the number of icons that do come up on some of those doors. I realized on the mayor's door, you have three separate icons come up. I've got to go through and fix those before I can send it over to the first publisher that we have two publishers that we're dealing with right now. Anyway. All right, so what we do now, apply those overrides. Where the hell is Wayne's? Okay. Damn. Things are jumping all over the place. Now, we got to find a new series to watch, a good series to watch. Normally what happens around this house at a certain hour, we're sick of staring at one screen. We're going to stare at another. And man, we got Hulu, we got Netflix and such. But I mean, there's absolutely nothing on. Man, I don't know if you have anything you could suggest as such, but man, my ears are open. But can I just say, I'm not all that much interested in those German and like shows that are coming over. I dark, meh. And there's another one about this plane. Here's the thing. The younger generation is finally catching up with smart people like me, and they're like, we are not all that freaking interested in seeing constant sex in our shows. And I'm sorry, if you have a television show that immediately starts with two people going at it, I'm out. I'm just not interested in seeing that. And it doesn't advance the plot any, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that was a problem with that there. I think it was a Dutch show about a science fiction show about some people on a plane. Um, Back in the day when shows started doing that, I don't know whether you remember, but we were saying, "Oh yeah, that's because it's written by AI." And now that we do have AI, and we can see how badly it writes, boy, if it could only write that badly. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so let me see. I can move those things down into the done list. Some documents. Yep, 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 yep. Can move those down. And you probably mentioned a lot more of those. I will have to go through one day and do a search because all of these documents are important, and I have to identify artifact code and remove. Yeah, and by the way, thanks for finding these residual colliders as well and such, because that is, I mean, really, I mean, God, when I found out that somebody, I mean, the person that we left to do the colliders just sort of just screwed the job up, I was very, very upset. Okay, let's see here. Tab switch cats, greedy mode, that's good, sir. Okay, get to lighthouse. This actually, yeah, this has some problems still. I found out buildings could get Varric, fix that. Fixed. No audio slider, fix that. Move that down to my fixed list here. Yeah, I think I fixed that audio issue because it was I attached. There's a switchable audio source that clicks on when the cat purrs. I moved that over to. I sent you the screenshot. I didn't understand that it was a hierarchy of sound objects. There was a master sound object, and that master sound object had not been put into the. Hopefully, I fixed that. Let me go on to the rest of these. Lighthouse, haven't fixed that yet, but we talked about that. We're just going to move that closer. Colliders at ground level. Eat fishing back. That's a question. Spinning quest icon. Yeah, that's layer issue. Yeah, and we talked about the whole clouder thing. That's something I'm going to have to bring Lance back for, and that's going to require dinero. Even when game is paused, that is something that I may bring Lance back for because I don't understand how we set up the menu system and everything. But there should be a quick way to just, when you hit escape, mute all sounds. Maybe I could create a parent object that does that. I don't know. No, because then if you exit it via the regular way, yeah. Mayor's house upstairs. Pass. Yeah, underfloor and can't escape. Fix that. Yep. I fixed these a while back. I didn't know why. How? Well, no. If you're not aware, Wayne, I was streaming earlier on Twitch, and my computer crashed. Garrison's Market. Yeah. Let's see. Spinning Quest. Shallow water. I moved that downward, just a teensy bit. Basically, about in real world terms, about that much. So, figure a cat and get up to the bottom of their stomachs now, hopefully, before they, respawn. And I think I already told you that I was totally missed. I did not know that none of the spawn points were hooked up for the ocean, respawner. That was blew my mind. Thanks again, because why is it not working? Because they were put into the. Okay, marking surface on the rock. I would really like to get that fixed before you build again, but okay. Here. That's been fixed. Yeah, I wanted to do that meowing thing about bringing in cats in closer. I have to say, after playing Journey, I don't know if you've ever played Journey, the game from my best friend, Annapurna Interactive. Because if you're not aware, and that's in that game, it had a sort of a mechanic where you're playing with other players, and sometimes the only way to get through a certain level is with their assistance. But you cannot ever communicate with them. The only way you could do it is chirp, and a chirp will send out, that ball, and if it hits another person, they can chirp back. I wanted to set up a system like that, but it wasn't dependent upon the other cats chirping back. It would just, if you meowed, they meow back. But for again, dude, not to go back into bad memories and everything, but dude, there was a certain point where it's like, is this game ever going to get done? Because I'm working with people who just absolutely can't get anything done, and oh my god, maybe I should disappear. That's when I learned how great Botswana is. Let's see, Garrison's Market. Let's go. Do audio. Mayor's house upstairs. Past card. Yeah, the ability. Yeah, the red brick wall. Missing colliders. That's sort of like on the back of my list because I'm figuring very few players are going to go wandering back there. You know what I'm saying? But it is imperative that players that I fix that. You're right. But I'm thinking. Here's the thing. Let me just see here, because I fixed that. I'm going to open up my Veg 31 scene here. What happened? I'm closing my window. It's starting to get cold. And by the way, the reason I brought up General Sherman is because recently, I've had another flare up of just like morons on the internet just messing with me in various ways, and it brought me back to the days of like Anonymous when I was like with Project Chanology, we were picketing Scientology and everything. And I remember, back then, our attitude toward anything that screwed with us online was General Sherman. Just have no mercy, burn them to the ground, and bury them. And I just felt like we should put it out there. I have absolutely no intention of doing anything to these individuals because really it says more about them than it says about me that they decided to, crap in the middle of our Steam page. It's such because I hurt the feelings. Oh my goodness. And trust me, I've been ultimately respectful. Anyway, I'm not going to go over that. But I just do sometimes have memories back to them. Man, the things you can do if you have a couple of proxies and a couple of extra bucks of change lying around. Just saying. And you have a good VPN, a couple of proxies, can just get a few cheap host things up. Yeah, oh my. And also, I found out when these people really, you don't even have to engage in that because really, in most of these cases, literally, it's really frightening. How many people literally hide behind? I guess it's part of the business. I've learned. Hold on, I lost my. I've been rambling so much. I lost my train of thought of what we were looking at. The school bus. Here's the problem with school bus texture. Maybe I can find a better way of compressing it because currently that texture is already 4,000 pixels. I mean, that's huge. Or I forget. Let me see. Well, we can take a look at that after I take this. But video quality slider. I'm gonna have to take a look at how that's hooked up, and also look at our video quality settings because what that is actually set by is Unity. Lesson here is you actually have to go to the project settings, and it's set over here in quality, and you can literally go through every setting, from et cetera, and set what is exactly seen in each of those. I have seen that it doesn't seem to have much of an impact. Well, it has a hell of a lot of impact inside the editor. Can I say? But external, yeah, I haven't really checked. I have to say. So let's see. Now, this thing about the ghost image when outdoors and panning on screen fades away in a second or two after panning stops. Most visible when up high. Oh, and by the way, I we're not bringing back the ability to go to the to climb up to the top of the church. Uh, because even though this may be set at 150 right now, I guarantee you would still see gaps in the distance. What we will probably do is what they did in Fallout 1. I mean, likewise, when they get to the top of the World War II tower, there will be a scene. If you're not aware, in Fallout 3, when you get to the top of the Washington Monument, it's a completely different exterior. It's not. It's basically a very low poly exterior because you're viewing from a very tall height. Probably that's what it's going to be. It's going to be another scene with very thick fog and treetops, and that's it. I don't think because I'm frightened. I mean, I'm glad that we got this sector loading issue solved, but I'm wondering. I mean, that's probably going to hit some lower end systems, performance wise. And there might be a solution. It's just right now, dang it, maybe soon. But anyway, I'm just going to go back to the bottom because I thought there was something else I needed to solve in the main exterior. Oh yeah, and other minor stuff which I mentioned before, but maybe not all. Let me tell you, now that I have these, I may have forgotten some things you mentioned before. Just going through these. All you can do is claim salt, pass card town hall. Yeah, red brick, missing colliders. Via get cat visible even through walls. Yeah. Actually, that could be looked at really quick. Jittery. I've already explained that to you, and that's something. And that's going to require going over a hell of a lot of this at the game. Because anywhere where there's even the slightest overlap in colliders, you're going to have that jittery problem, and that includes a hell of a lot of ceilings. And I kind of, geez, we're going to release this as another beta preview with just telling people, we're sorry, but this is going to happen, especially if you have the camera up top when it's bouncing up against the ceiling, because what we're going to have to do is I did not know that you were going to have this much of a I mean, the top floor, the collider for the ceiling, and the collider for the top or the floor above it are slightly far apart, but they still create a conflict when the camera gets close to them. That means that we're going to have to probably move all of those things up just maybe an inch, couple of inches, and that'll be fine. But right now, I mean, considering again the last release we had, lights didn't work. Most of the interiors were not even accessible. I mean, honest to God, I think compared with what we had back then, compared to what we have now, no comparison. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's room for improvement, but there are some things that I'm willing to let go because I feel really bad about the last release, and I would like to have people go, play it a little bit because they didn't have a chance last night. It was 1, 2, 3, 7. Bring 3 down. Keeping these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're down to 20 something here. Video quality slider. We going over. Yeah, the golf carts still don't turn right. Yeah. The tires may never match that because of just the way they're set up. We'll see. But I think I can get it to turn a little bit tighter. I may have to just go ahead and make the curbs a little bit more. We'll see. Pick things up. Oh, yeah, we got to increase the size of pickup colliders here, basically. Yeah, I got to get the control. Yeah, the momentary ghost image. I thought that was because on the camera, there was, I thought it didn't have a certain effect going, but apparently it does not, it doesn't have eye adaptation um, added, and I think that may be what we have to do here, and I'll take care of that. I'm just seeing here. Eye adaptation. Here we go. Under, yeah, because the autofocus, because it's having to compute that stuff. Anyway. Oh, hello, Cineras. Hey, we have another Python here. Hello, hello. Um, but I wonder if there was the ghosting. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. I'm gonna click eye adaptation, and I'm thinking also. Hi, Cineras. We're just going through this and trying to figure out what might be causing it. Because really, the only real effects that we have here going is let's see, a depth of field and a little bit of bloom and vignetting. Vignetting is the a little bit of a frame around that because for some reason I found it just focuses people a little bit more closely on what's going on there. So yeah, I don't. That is the only thing that I could see that might be causing that is perhaps the we don't have eye adaptation done. But let's see here. Yeah, illuminance changes in the scene, and you said it was technical. Um, yeah, I'm hoping Cineris is still with us because it doesn't tell us. Let's see. Panning the screen up high and looking. Okay. Hmm. Interesting. And let's see. We have. No, we don't have that. I don't know what might be causing that, but I'm going to assume I'm going to have eye adaptation added because that should happen. Because I kind of like it when you go into the forest. I mean, your vision should change, to compensate. Let's just say save that. Save. Excellent. So, yeah, that's another issue that quality issue that you mentioned there. But you can see we're down to about 23 issues now. 22 controls menu. Yeah, object positions, audio, and a few graphic issues from you are the only things that are pointed out. And um, jeez, here's the thing, Wayne. There have been so many times where I've been cool with things as they are, but and going ahead and building because tomorrow is usually the night I update on our program, our Patreon, talking about. And last week I said, we need another week, and I really hate going on again and going, we need another more time, but really, I wouldn't mind having another night to go through and see if I could do something about all those like multiple icons that go on. While I make another build, you review it, and just make sure more or less things are fine. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, I mean, on top of your error, the bugs you found, Wayne. By the way, we have. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How many still on my? These are my bugs down here, and you can see that's all in 60 66 things that are, I mean, outside of your errors. But I mean, these are things that I think I can wait on. I mean, correct card position on carry. You've got that mentioned, so I'm just going to get rid of my versions of things that you mentioned. I really don't like how. I mean, we're trying to figure out why is like when the cat picked up the card, it was like 90 degrees to where it should have. It was just annoying. And you can see, so I mean, some of these things are. Oh, fix the spark shower. I fixed that. Jeez, I mean, I'm wondering how come these are marked fixed or done. I thought I think I have to go through all of these now just to make sure. Let's see, but it's going to be quick because I know most of these haven't been done. App randomly crashes for no apparent reason. That's another. I think there's a memory leak somewhere. Quite frankly, I'm going to close it out. Oh goodness, sorry. It's a little bit cold here. We're heading into a warm step. But anyway, feet breaches. Let's see, drone behavior. Lock. Yeah, that's the one. Lock icon and enter icons. Cat level. Yeah. Library sheet. Cipher puzzle highlight colors. Arcs, stickers, signs. A great drop for drones. Glue map. Yeah, we're getting up. Yeah, up here it's like I gotta write books, entire books. You know. Let's see here. Balanced play. Yeah, only if. Now here's one thing. When you mentioned this about Win M, I was unaware. Can I tell you? In my entire life, I've never used Win M. I've always used Win D. I was not even aware of Win M, Win key, and M until you pointed it out the other day. I can look into it, but I don't know how to make it do that. I think that's a Windows issue. I mean, let's just see. Player. Hold on. We can go into the project set. Maybe it's the settings here. Let's see. Player. Player settings. I'm just going through all of the things because we want to make sure. Backend. It's all scripting backend stuff. Let's see. Suppress uncommon, Roslyn analyzers, manage log type. Yeah, I do not have the ability, dude. I do not know. With all due respect, Wayne, I'm going to stick that into the wish list because I do not know how to make Windows. I do not know why that's working. Why I know Windows D works, so I'm just going to put that in the back burner for the time being. No offense, not saying it's not important. It's just right now, like I don't know. I don't know. Oh yeah, and all these save issues have been basically taken care of. With the reason I fixed the problem with the radio program and the save issue. Let's see, exit. Okay, also all those three. And by the way, we're at 150. Yeah, so really we have about, I'd probably say about 80, 88 issues all told that need to be solved. Probably less. We got 65, 69. So yeah, we got about 70 here, and I think I pulled about I pulled about three out. So we still have about 68 errors for full beta. And that's not bad. But some of these things, I'm sort of like, I will say that I'm sort of like at a loss on these things to make them significant in the game's game. Because if you've been to this, the cool, yeah, we lost our other viewer. I'm sorry, I'm so boring here. Yeah, I mean, literally the whole time that they were there, I had a list up on the screen. I was just talking about stuff. But if you went to the school, you realize there are in the back of each of the textbook, there's a school exercise that's going on, sort of like a class project. One of them is that physics project about like momentum and such. A little bit of back end writing stuff. That's one of the few things in the game I've not been able to integrate into like what's going on. I'm like, what exactly is going on here? That's it could be it could be that's I don't know, maybe something I'm gonna next time I buy I can afford to go out and get some Indian food for lunch. That's when we're gonna have our writers meeting. But really, what I want to do, if you don't mind, Wayne, is I'm going to send you. I'm going to make a build as it is right now, and while while you're testing that, I'm going to spend the rest of the evening just going through it and seeing if I can fix this issue with as many of these doors as possible, because it is real immersion breaker and it looks really amateurish to go to a door and have all these things all over the place. It looks stupid. I mean, it's oh god, I what? Looking back, I cannot believe that I actually sent previous versions of this to a publisher because there were just so many things that we missed. So again, thanks. You've been invaluable. I wish I could pay you, dude, for the service that you've given us. I mean, maybe for every week we give you another mention in the game, and then it'll eventually be Wayne's World, Wayne's Island. Um, anyway, all right. Boy, I bet you were glad you were. Were you around in the '90s? Oh, of course, Wayne's. Were you around in the '90s? Oh gosh, and I haven't even talked about General Sherman in quite some time. But anyway, let's see here. Yeah. The problem is that means going around to every door in town, and that's kind of a long and boring process. I've been going for an hour and 15, so I'm totally justified in setting up a render and answering a couple of questions, and then going off to work on my own. Because here's the also while it's building this, I really want to get a start on another novel for the game because I've been doing a lot of studying lately. Yesterday, I'm going to set that up right now. In fact, go to my main exterior. Yesterday I succeeded in taking an entire day off. I went out to Cliff Island. I was going to say Cliff Island, and I spent basically it was just a chance to get the hell out of here. And I've been resentful, to our Casco Bay lines ever since they changed their cost of their ticket. But I gave in yesterday, and I bought a monthly 30-day ticket that allowed me to go to all the islands out there. So the next 30 days are going to be like every weekend. I'm going to be going out somewhere kind of crazy. Anyway, yeah, I sat around and I read a lot. And when I came home, I played RimWorld. I was like, I gotta work, and then I booted up RimWorld, and man, I that's a game that I did not get at first. When I first got it, I was like, God, this is just like managing a freaking office. But man, oh goodness gracious, it draws you in. It draws you in. Um, anyway, let's see here. So what I'm going to do here is make sure that our game manager is set to. And by the way, Wayne, the reason that quick save never worked before, and I know this is boring. If anybody wants to bring up something more exciting, please, we can talk about that. But let me see here. Inspector, yeah. Was because I would test it before compressing it and then sending it to you. When I played it to test it, it automatically created a blank save scene file that, because I always exited by hitting Alt F4, it never saved the position. So that's why whenever you tried to load again, it went back to that original scene where it basically saved the base cat in the middle of nowhere. So that's why. I've solved it since then I basically compress it before I send it to you, before testing. But I mean, now that we've got a lack of those, and also I fixed the problem with the cat not being inside of the mayor's house and the cat loading in the wrong place. The cat loading in the wrong places might be a little bit tricky, but hopefully, and also that clouder issue, goodness gracious. But anyway, here's the thing. I don't like it that the clouders are appearing in bad places, etc., etc. But right now, I'm willing to accept bugged over, except there are some things that we're willing to let out bugged. And for now, we're letting that go out bugged. I swear that Richard DaCosta's follow was a little bit better. I should show that off while we're building. But let me go to my build settings. I did a video a couple of years ago, and it's how I was able to advertise the game to the Argentine game community. For some reason, when you look for South American gaming communities down over on Reddit, the only one that has a big one is Argentina. Strangely enough, oddly enough, you know what I'm saying. Okay, where's my build folder? But yeah, I actually did an interview with a guy down in Argentina, and boy, I don't know. He didn't like my woke attitude, quote unquote woke attitude. But heaven knows, I mean, if you did not know, Argentina is a wacky country. Believe it or not, they are the whitest country that is not in Europe. They are whiter than the state of Maine, and we are the whitest state in the United States. Argentina is incredibly white. You wouldn't think that, and that's why they elected such a loon. But heck, why did the people in Brazil elect that other guy? I don't know. Their economy was a bit crapper because they hosted the Olympics. That's why. Anyway, set this up to build. Yeah. And by the way, Wayne, another thing that I want you to know, these builds that I'm sending you. I know I'm aware when they decompress, they're like twice the size because usually when they should only be about 15 or 16 gigabytes, but when you decompress them, they're like 24. That's because I found out basically the default compression builds take about a quarter as long to make. And when they're compressed, they are the same size as the compressed builds. So that's why. Just letting you know, when we do release the beta, it'll be about 8 gigabytes smaller. But let me see. I mean, back in the day, Richard had built a. Let me see here. I hate running YouTube through Google. It's just so stupid. But Richard had a a follow mechanism, and that thing would have the cats following you everywhere. They would just they never gave up. They were like the Terminator. But let me see how many hours ago that was. Oh, by the way, cheese. Eating lots of cheese. I have to make myself a salad with lots of garlic in a bit. Let me see here. Go down. Where is that? Yeah, the follow A to I test for 2 years ago. We can play it with funny audio. Oh, it's asking me if I want to save. Yes, absolute. Definite. Yeah.
Toda mi vida me la he pasado lamentando todo, ya estoy cansado. Tantos golpes la vida me ha dado. Aún así yo me he levantado. La cosa es no dejarte vencer.
Sorry it's so loud.
Siempre sacaste una feria, casi nada. Con viejas, carros, casa y fama. No es por nada, eso me llama la atención como él los ama. Y así no estoy contento. Paso las noches bien despierto, pensando en lo que viene adelante. Buenos tiempos o un desastre. Toda mi vida me la he pasado lamentando de lo que ha pasado. Toda mi vida me la he pasado navegando, buscando placeres que nunca han llegado. Toda mi vida me la he pasado buscando el amor que se han robado. No hay lo que hacer, buscando placer. Por todo el mundo voy a deshacer. Hasta encontrarla ya estoy cansado de mis amores del pasado. Ya no quiero seguir jugando, no pienso seguir aguantando.
Sorry for the loudness at the beginning. I've forgotten how the volume was registered on that. But you can see he had those cats. No matter how far away you got, and they would follow you everywhere. Richard, that script I will say was slightly superior to what we have now. I mean, if those cats do spawn out, they will find you and get you. And I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to Lance to see if you can beef that up a bit. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, as you can see here now, we're in about 2 minutes into a build, and it is gripping, gripping, gripping. So anyway, since that video has been made, well, the thing is, let's see, it still isn't working. Really? You're saying save game is not working? Okay, I verified it worked on my side. It did. You had to quit via the menu, then start it up and load. It worked for me. And I think in the last version, you said it kind of worked for you because you said you loaded it and you like were in the basement of the town hall area. So does not that work for you? Getting conflicted, signals here. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, I know it works on my side. Is all I can say. And by the way, I didn't mean to be one of these like people who are like oh my goodness, they elected a crazy person because they're white. Uh, People go of all like races and stripes go crazy and such and heck. Uh, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody here that I'm like left of center, and really, it's shocking to me that if only men in the United States had voted in the last election, Donald Trump would have won, I think, every state in the union, and that includes men not non-whites. I don't get what's going on. I mean, makes me wonder about my own gender, et cetera, et cetera. So my own. Well, no, I forget it. Here's the thing: I don't know anything about sexual psychology and psychology in general, but because there was once back in the day this grammatical argument about using the term gender versus sex, but now in that we've determined they are separate. Whereas before, that sometimes people thought they were used interchangeably, and sometimes they were, different, except, I don't know. Again, I'm old. Anyway, so let's see here. I saved the town hall. The cat had void. Had cat in the void after loading. Okay, that may have again been because of the. Okay, whenever the cat loads, whenever the game loads, it searches for something called a ground plane. That is where the cat spawn is supposed to be when the game loads again. I discovered that the ground plane, that is why, for example, when you got into the mayor's house, the boy was constantly underneath. You see what I'm saying? Because I only discovered today that the ground plane was down there. So I adjusted that. This will not be a case in this build that you're going through. Just so you know. And let's see here. My goodness, strange how I'm always like 3 hours. People don't usually tune in until about an hour plus into this when I'm doing very boring stuff. I could talk about other things about Peace Island and such. Let's see here. I could talk about my wonderful day out yesterday, or we could play RimWorld while we're waiting for this to get done. I don't know. I was I was building another geothermal plant. You don't want to watch me play that because I tend to be very opposite of what I am. I mean, whenever I play a sim, I tend to be a fascist because you see, I am not like that in real life. If you gave me authority, number one, I'd be like, I don't want it. And number two, I'd be like Allende without the smarts. But man, give me a video game and I'm going to be a dictator. Let me tell you, and you don't want to see my real world. It's good pays. Trust me, nothing bad, nothing too bad. It's just that I tend to just pave the entire area and build gigantic things. And anybody who looks at me crosswise, I mean, I usually kill merchants than anything else. The royal tribute collectors, I'm like, why are you even here? Just, I wish I could set up like defenses that whenever they came through, they just immediately zap them. Or I don't know, you just gun them down. Why are you like? I'm going to give you money anyway. I like playing RimWorld. I had this campaign that where I was literally going to try and wipe out every other clan on the entire planet. But the problem was is they upgraded RimWorld, and the old games were no longer any good. So I had to give up after only like killing wiping out 1/3 of the planet's population. Yeah. So anyway, hey, what can we talk about? So now that we have three people here, sometimes you got to be a little bit evil. Yeah, Laura is the Sims master. She is very much of she's the stuff that she does in that. She, when here's the thing: she games in her office over there, and I game over here. So it's like I never exactly get to see what she's up to, but. Yeah, she back in the day in the previous versions of Sim, she found out that she could build a staircase up into nowhere and then just place a floor, and it would just hang there in the middle of nowhere. And she was just building houses, these gigantic floating houses and such. And she's very very good at creating characters that look like the person they're based on. She did the Trailer Park Boys. I think still probably. I don't know though she's done it for 5, the most recent version of The Sims. is it 5 or 4 that's out? I think it's 5 that's coming out, right? Screwing all the people who spent their hundreds of dollars on Sims 4, right? It's just so bad. Anyway, um, let's see. Gosh, we're just waiting for this build to take place because I can't work on this while this is happening. Let's see. Yeah, the next book I'm writing is going to be called A Taste of Lethe, and it is a writing exercise about in unreliable narration and recontextualization. And we'll see how it turns out. It's probably going to be the shortest one out of all the ones that I've written for the thing. Because ever since, I was happy when I first wrote the books for the game. I was like, yeah, I can write a book that's about 13 pages. And then I realized, oh, not everybody has huge monitors. And, and even on my monitor, books at, that text size are just unreadable. So let me just show. I take everything up to 24 points with at least 28 with a 28 separation between the layers, and that brought everything up to 30 pages plus. And I was like, I never meant to write books that long for the game, but the thing is I really don't feel like condensing or ripping out half of the books. Heck, they're written. I don't want to have to deal with them again. Well, I am going to have to deal with them again because, like I said, the reason that many of these books are so long and have so many characters in them is because of many of them legitimate in-game reasons, some of them not, but also because we have a lot of people who contributed and they wanted to have their names mentioned in the game as characters in a story. So we have to have a lot of hooks on which to hang those. So it's all the characters in the books are named after people who contributed to the game, etc., etc. And Bill Clare, Mushroom Slayer. I kind of like Desiree Lawrence in The Strange Occurrence, even though it was just a stupid time loop story. I think that was one of the better ones that I've been able to write. Because once in a while, you find your voice and you're like, yeah, I'm writing like I'm thinking, and yeah, I think at the very end when what's his character Egon, when the last mouse is talking, he's sort of like talking in my voice. Time traveling mice. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, Taste of Lethe. I'm going through it right now, and I think this is gonna. I may be able to keep it under 30 pages because it's just etc. I've already gone down and edited the 2 first chapters, and I think I was able to knock a good page out of the first 2 chapters. Even though it's good, chapter 2 is really long. I mean, chapter 1 is only 2.5, and this is like 5. 5 is too long. Chapter should never be more than 4 pages in my book. Anyway, gonna get that done. So I still wish I could zoom in on the Greenwood family Bible. Eventually it will be. Here's the thing: is that we put stuff in there that we realize that as we said, there are a heck of a lot of quest trailheads in the beta that we're releasing. It doesn't have the whole quest. Likewise, there are things in here that are not 100% fleshed out. I mean, you did see that Maurice Markarian's stuff is basically his garbage. He's like, oh, you want my stuff? Here's my crap, my garbage, trash. But his rejected stuff. I don't think I mean, if you saw the Greenwood Bible, it would be a Bible, and I think I never thought about the ethnicity of the Greenwood family because I know that Eustace Greenwood was the first person that ever settled on Peace Island in. I'm gonna have to take this off the screen. Sorry, because I can't have my wiki. I have sometimes gone to the Peace Island wiki and had stuff spoilers up on screen, so you'll have to pardon me. I mean, Eustace Greenwood. How? I mean, that's about as European as a name you can get. Let's see here. Vice President of the Confederacy there again. I forget his name. Let's see. Greenwood family name origin. Let's see. English, of course. Toponymical. Yeah. Uh, because, yeah, people who live near Greenwood. The name is well known in Yorkshire, and they're known to people. So yeah, so I guess their family came. The Eustace Greenwood comes from a family in Yorkshire. Um, so they spoke English. They're not. Let's see. I don't even know where Yorkshire is. Stupid American. Boy. But actually, there's a great thing a Geopol did. I mean, we Americans know very little about geography and much about foreign countries, but with the exception of myself and Wayne and all the good people who play Peace Island. But let me see maps. We're just going to go to Yorkshire. So I guess it's this. Yeah, and you can see up here there's still a national park, huge national park. It looks like by English standards. So yeah, I guess yeah, York. They have yeah national landscape and such. So yeah, oh, that's kind of cool. But wow. Oh, there's no green woods at all. Oh well, green and pleasant land. That is beautiful though. I love those old stone walls. Anyway, it looks sort of like inland Maine actually. Except inland Maine's a little bit flatter, not those rolling hills. Inland maybe. Um, but yeah, yeah. So Eustace Greenwood is from Yorkshire. So you found a little bit. You saw a little bit of game development in progress there, because, yeah. Let's see. Sorry, gotta go back to my yeah. Let's see. Login required. Gonna see. I think it's again. Just gonna look at the Peace Island history. Peace Island, because it has history. Yeah, history, prehistory. Let's see here. I'm just gonna captain's. Okay, Peace Island. Okay, here we go. I could. This isn't like spoilers here. Okay, so it was mapped by Captain John Smith in 1614. Prentice Bay Islands were first settled by white settlers in 1655. Eustace Greenwood, 1717. So yeah, somebody from Yorkshire. And let me see. Ellison is the other like big family from there. And is that a Norwegian name? I named it Ellison because Harlan Ellison was my favorite author, and he passed away while I was working on it, and while I was working on the farm, and I was like, yes, I'm going to name it after him because he can't sue me anymore. If you know anything about Harlan Ellison, you know what I'm talking about. He was one of the most litigious human beings to ever exist. But let me see. So yeah, Ellison family name origin. I never figured this. Middle English, Old French. Ellison, Elisind. Old Testament, Elijah. Okay, it's a derivation of Elijah. Hmm, okay. An American voice of an Ashkenazic Jewish. That explains it. Harlan Ellison. He was Jewish, and I was like, how come he has a Norwegian name? Because he's Ashkenazi Jew. Okay, duh. Anyway, okay, it makes sense now. Ellison, of course, it would be actually. Here is the problem. I, it would be kind of just playing it into the wrong hands to make the wacky family on the island Jewish. It just would be. There already is actually a Jewish family, Maurice Markarian. He's Jewish. The reclusive writer. So really, they're Norwegian. We'd like to think that, but actually, it's kind of more complex than that because, well, that's when we get into spoilers. You know, I can't really give the full family history of the Ellison family because that again we have everybody's family tree worked out. Yeah, if I can't give away, if you learned that the origin of the current Ellison, it would just be a sort of a spoiler sort, because well, you'll find out. It looks like it's very close to being done, and let me see. We probably lost all of our viewers here, because after this. I get to open up my project again and then start going through doors and maybe writing stuff. But let's just see. I'm trying to find the. Oh yeah, I'm doing this to opera. I forget. Hmm. or so. Let's see. Maurice's trash was hilarious. Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah. Most of what I know about UK was from watching Geo Wizard on YouTube. I probably one of the nice looking African countries, except yeah, Egypt. Yeah, Africa is tough. Because especially that place where Benin, Togo, the Ivory Coast, and all those like little teensy countries are. That's really really tough. Um, Actually, I'm very good at geography, but I hate my weak spot was American geography. When I say American, I'm sorry, United States geography. I knew more about Canadian geography than I did the United States. I couldn't name most state capitals until I was, geez, that was when I never get it 100% when I was in high school. I'm going to step away for a bit, and I will be right back. But yeah, geez, yeah, wow. I never. I was just like finally figured out. I mean, it's strange that I never looked up the Ellison family name because I always assumed it was like Norwegian or something, and I never realized that was like Ashkenazic derivation of an Ashkenazic Jewish name, and that's why Elisha. That's why Helen Ellison has that name. Kind of crazy. Anyway, well, not crazy, just family. Okay, yeah, now we're going to see that. You know what? I'm going to come back in just a minute. We're going to have just a quick reading a thing, and then I'm going to come. Oh, yeah, I'm going to open up this. And we're just got to go through the streets one by one, doing those doors. Because now that's zipping that up. And I have to go and grab something. I will be right back. Yeah, I wanted to try something because yesterday, like I said, I went out and I read. And I finally had a chance to sit down and start reading that Book of the New Sun. And I'm slowly getting an idea of how this guy writes. And there's an interesting little test that I heard when I encountered it. I could see why it gives you an idea of how this guy does his stuff. And I just want to see if I can give that test. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go into Veg 30 because that's where I have to do my work, and it's going to take a minute to load. Actually, no, 31 because that's where I will be right back. Thank you so much for your patience. Now, to finish a thought I was going to touch on about geopold when we were looking back at what Yorkshire looks like. I mean, we in the United States are made fun of, sometimes rightly so, of our ignorance of like foreign places. But if you're not familiar, there's a good YouTube channel called Geopold, and it's a guy who does just like very ironic reports about countries and such. And he says yes, he did a video and he said yes, you're absolutely correct. when you ask the average American about Yorkshire, we don't know where it is. We don't know much about it. But you go to Yorkshire, and you ask the average person there about where Ohio is and what's going on there. They're equally just, for the most part, you'll find out that there's an equal number of people. Sorry, Lizzie. Lizzie can see the bottom of her food dish, and it's just too much. You're gonna have to bear with me for a moment here. Sorry. Come on, Lizzie. Twice a day, she gets she's already overweight. But let's see here. Oh, okay. Yeah, the exterior's been shut off because we need to turn off the interiors because I'm going to be working the exterior. And that's mostly after I sign off here. But yeah, I think we're all basically equally ignorant. I guarantee you, if I go to Estonia, we'd be probably equally ignorant about each other where we are. Well, so anyway, oh God, we have 5 people. This may be the puppet people coming to join us. But anyway, and it's good that they joined us because here's a little writing test. No, a reading test or something. Because here's the problem. If you're much of a reader, usually with an author or a book, when you start on it, a new author, it takes you a while to get into the cadence of like how they write and the rhythm of how they present things and such. There are some writers that it's like you're always stumbling over yourself. Cormac McCarthy and some of his writings are like that. This guy, you're constantly feeling like you're stumbling over your own feet. And okay, let me see if I can. Okay, this is an example. And from what I understand, by the way, and this starts out with like a warning. It says you're about to read 250,000 words, and when you're done, you're going to have to read it all over again because you're going to understand, recontextualize. But anyway, it's so this is sort of like the boss level of cryptic fiction or whatever. But so I'm going to just I'm going to read this out. And I just want to say, anybody in the chat, if you could tell me, and if you've read Book of the New Sun, don't put it in the chat. I'm going to describe something the way Gene Wolfe does here, and I want you to say in the chat, and it's going to take a minute or two to get through what you think I'm describing. Okay. The picture showed an armored figure standing in a desolate landscape. He had no weapon, but held a staff bearing a strange, stiff banner. The visor of this figure's helmet was entirely of gold, without eye slits or ventilation. In its polished surface, the deathly desert could be seen in reflection and nothing more. Now, I would like those people who are still here and listen to that, please, and have not read this, to tell me in the chat what you think, what that picture was of. Let's just get over here, go to turn, and I'm going to line up my work while I'm waiting for the answers or lack thereof to come through. And after that, I think I'm going to say bye-bye because, like I said, I want to get to writing. I haven't written in a few days, and if I'm going to work on like ostensibly a weekend, I'd like to work on what I'd like to, and I haven't written in a while, and I enjoy it. So anyway, let's get back here. Okay, Wayne asked me to read it again. All right, I'm going to read it again. Those who, all right. Let's see. The picture that the picture he was cleaning showed an armored figure standing in a desolate landscape. It had no weapon, but held a staff bearing a strange, stiff banner. The visor of this figure's helmet was entirely of gold, without eye slits or ventilation. In its polished surface, the deathly desert could be seen in reflection and nothing more. Okay. Sinris. No, not statue in a desert. I'm going to see if anybody. I'm going to give it, let's say, about until 2 more minutes. See if Wayne has anything, or if anybody else has any guesses as to what is being described there. Wayne, very close. That picture was that famous picture of the astronaut standing on the moon, holding out the American flag. You know, I'm talking, or standing with the American flag. That's what that quote was of. Um, he constantly uses words and references and stuff, and it's because you'll find yourself like going through a couple of sentences and then realizing, no, I didn't pay attention to fully what's going on there. I have to go back. And usually, when I'm about 50 pages into a book, I've gotten a rhythm. I still don't have this guy's rhythm down, but because I mean that's only one. Like there's so many weird examples of just how he sets stuff up and references each. I'm slowly starting to get it. And one of the reasons I think I really didn't like it, because I tried to listen to it in books on tape. And when I listened to it in audiobook, books on tape, that's how old I am. But anyway, it's got to be read because if it's just floating along and blubbering along, there are so many words in there that you have to go sit back and go, hold on, I don't know that word, but in the context that it is, I guess I know what it is, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's not something you got to pay it. It's a book you got to pay attention to, and it's rare that I can see why I was recommended this. I'm still not 100% there because it's still very, I don't know, very just it's just sort of formulaic in ways. But we'll see how it plays out. But anyway, like I said, I want to go and write for a while, but I think the first thing I'm going to do, Wayne, after I get this thing, up is I'm going to just go through town and see if I can solve these issues with, like I said, all these. When you're outside the mayor's house window, you see 3 different icons come up, and that is just confusing and stupid. I want to get that solved. It's sweet, but I'm like I said, like you saw, I'm compressing, I'm uploading, and Wayne, I so appreciate your time and assistance and Create Peace Island. We really do. You're the guy we depend on. Like I said. You're the 4th leg of the stool that the project rests on now. We really appreciate it. So anyway, to those who tuned in later and those who watched and sat through this agonizing ramble, thanks much. And hey, I'm probably going to, geez, when am I going to be back doing this? Because tomorrow, oh God, Mondays are always really wacky. No? We'll see. Probably in a couple of days. I tried to like streaming over on Twitch earlier, but I don't know. Twitch, our audience sort of dried up over there. I mean, most of our audience over there was in Europe, and unfortunately, when it's 2 o'clock here, it's like 11 o'clock over, in northern Norway. So, what you got to do? Talk to you later, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and appreciate everybody's interest in the game and all that. Bye bye.